Before I mix up my first batch of epoxy, I'm doing a mock-up here for my first major decision on which motor mount I'm going to use in this rigger. Here's a closer look at why I'm doing this mock-up. The TP Power 4070 is a 100 millimeter long can. And I had to know whether with the angle that this motor mount sits at, if it would fit under the cowl. And it does fit. And I would not have believed it without doing this mock-up. I also had some concerns about how the rest of my electronics would fit in this haul. This 33FE version 2 is substantially larger than the 21FE. Here's a ZTW 200 amp ESC and a pair of 5000 milliamp hour Revolectrix LiPos, 3S LiPos, that I'll run in series. So fairly roomy tub on the version 2. These are some much larger components than a 4S system, and it looks like it'll all fit without any issues. Here's a flyby showing how much room I have on each side of these components. It's always nicer when you have enough room, especially for changing batteries in and out, because I can have enough room on either side to work the battery straps, and they fit height-wise with room to spare. I'll show you my other option for the motor mount and why I was considering using it and the pros and cons of it. This stock motor mount is fixed. The angle is fixed by the laser cut slots, and my concern was it would be too steep of an angle and this wouldn't clear. This motor mount, I could adjust it down to a lower angle and reduce that height, but I didn't need it. So the disadvantage to this one would be the weight. Let's check out a weight comparison of these two mounts. 2.3 ounces. Stock mount, simple plate, 1 ounce. So less than half the weight of this one. So we'll go with this motor mount here, stock motor mount. But I had to know before I started to build that this motor would fit under the cowling, because this gets epoxied right into the tub as you build it. If I was going to use this mount and lower the back of the motor, I would swap this out and would make a wooden former with the center cut out to get rid of this weight. The added benefit, I got to see how all my electronics fit in this tub. And that's also how you end up with spares when you make purchases like this, just in case this doesn't work. This just came in the mail today. Got off of eBay. It's kind of my go-to boat receiver. Spectrum SR 6000T. T's for telemetry. Has onboard RPM, volt, and temperature. And then you can expand it with the X-bus plug there. But I take the board out and coat it. Put a conformal coating on it. So just pop the cover off. Snaps on them 2 tabs there. Slide the board out. Careful not to touch any of the circuitry. So I cover everything. All the chips, all the circuits, both sides, 2 coatings, except for the plugs. The telemetry plugs and the servo plugs. I want them to make connection. Here's the conformal coating I use. It's a silicone conformal coating. I'm generous with it. It's everything coated. It's flexible. It's like a plastic type coating. Get all up underneath all these components. I want everything coated. Get all down in here, just not on the wires where the servos plug in. Stay away from the plugs. Just don't want anything electrical shorting out for moisture. And I'm looking at the board, like there's a little chip right there along the side of the servo plugs. So make sure everything gets a good coating. Float some more coating underneath that condenser or whatever that deal is. This will be the first of 2 coats. Flip it over. The whole backside. Generous coating. Float it in over all them sticking up soldered pins. Flood it in around that antenna plug. So that's plugged in, that's making connection. So now I just want that sealed up. I want no water getting in there. I've had 0 issues. I don't put anything in a radio box. I don't tape my hatches because I have everything waterproof. Waterproof servos. I coat my receivers like this. So I'm going to set this aside. Let this dry. Put a second coat on it later. Just set it inside the cupboard here. Doesn't take long to dry. It's a quick drying coating. So 2 coats, and I'll put the cover back on.